While you're trying to impress people with your words, you are handing over all your weaknesses on a silver platter. You think talking a lot makes you look smart, powerful, or interesting. But the truth is the opposite. Every word that leaves your mouth without a strategic purpose is a power leak. There is a reason why the most dangerous and influential men in history were silent. They weren't quiet because they had nothing to say. They were quiet because they were too busy gathering the information that you, in your desperate scramble for validation, were throwing in the trash. Right now, you are losing control of your relationships, your negotiations, and even your self-respect because you are afraid of silence. In the next few minutes, I'm going to teach you the dark art of observation. I'll show you how to read a room without saying hello, how to spot a liar in seconds, and most importantly, I'm going to give you the 3-word phrase that makes anyone confess the truth to you, even if they've spent years hiding it. But be warned. Once you learn to see what people are actually saying with their bodies, you will never be able to look at a conversation the same way again. The world will become an open book, and the people around you will seem far too vulnerable. If you're ready to stop being the court jester and start being the master of the table, don't blink. Because what I'm going to reveal in the middle of this video is the secret that separates leaders from followers. If you leave now, you'll just continue to be noise in a world that only respects silence. The validation trap. Why do you talk? Think about it. Most people talk to fill the void. Silence is uncomfortable for the insecure. When silence settles in a date, a meeting, or at a bar, your brain panics. You feel a physical need to say something, anything, just to prove you are there, that you matter. This is what psychologists call ego leakage. Every time you talk too much about yourself, your plans, your achievements, or even your problems, you are asking for permission to exist. You are saying, please look at me. Please validate me. And here is the tragedy. The more you seek validation, the less you receive. Mystery is the foundation of respect. Imagine 2 men. One arrives at a party, tells jokes, talks about his new car, interrupts people to give his opinion, and tries to be the center of attention. The other stays in the corner, glass in hand, just watching. He smiles when someone speaks, but says little. He looks people in the eye, but doesn't look away. Who do you think has more power in that room? The first man is predictable. You know everything about him in 10 minutes. He has nothing to offer beyond what he has already shouted. The second man is an enigma. His silence projects a strength that the first man's voice will never reach. If you talk less, every word you choose to say gains the weight of a ton. If you talk all the time, your words are worth less than the oxygen you waste producing them. But how do you do this without looking like a creep or being antisocial? There is a transition technique I call active silence. But before I teach you that, you need to understand the fatal mistake 90% of people make when trying to observe others. If you make this mistake, you won't look powerful, you'll look dangerous in the wrong way. The observer's fatal error. Many people try to observe by staring at others as if they are in an interrogation. This creates instant resistance. The secret of observation isn't in your eyes, it's in your posture. True observation is invisible. While the world is focused on people's mouths, you are going to focus on their feet. Yes, the feet. The feet are the most honest part of the human body. Why? Because since childhood, we are taught to control our facial expressions. We learn to smile when we're sad, to fake interest when we're bored. But nobody remembers to monitor their feet. If you are talking to someone and their torso is turned toward you, but their feet are pointing toward the door, pay attention, that person wants to leave. Their brain has already exited the conversation, and the body is just following the flight order. If you notice this and keep talking, you've lost the battle. You've become a burden. The master observer notices the foot, ends the sentence with a mystery, and leaves first. Whoever leaves first holds the power of rejection. Do you see the difference? The observer isn't passive. He is a signal hunter. But observing feet is just level 1. There is something much deeper that happens in people's necks and hands when they feel threatened by a specific question. You know that question you're afraid to ask because you don't want to seem invasive? Later, I'll show you how to ask that question without saying a single word, just using the echo technique. But first, you must master the 4-second rule. The 4-second rule. Silence is a pressure weapon. Imagine you asked someone a question. Where were you last night? Or, why isn't the report ready? The person gives you a standard answer, an excuse. Most people would accept the answer and keep talking to ease the tension. Not you. You are going to listen to the answer, maintain eye contact, and mentally count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 seconds of absolute silence after an answer are unbearable for a liar or someone hiding something. Silence creates a vacuum, and nature abhors a vacuum. The person will feel a desperate need to fill that silence. This is where the truth appears. They will start explaining themselves. They will give details that weren't asked for. They will stutter. Why? Because your silence projected an aura of, I know you're lying. Often, you don't need proof. You just need silence. The 4-second rule works in negotiations, relationship arguments, and even job interviews. Whoever can endure the silence the longest wins the psychological game. But here is the warning, you cannot look away. If you go silent but look at the floor, you've lost. The gaze must be steady, but not aggressive. A look of curiosity, as if you were studying a specimen under a microscope. Can you do it? Or are you one of those people who looks away at the first sign of discomfort? If you look away, you are the prey. If you hold it, you are the predator. And speaking of predators, did you know there is a specific micro-expression that lasts only 1/10 of a second and reveals if someone feels contempt for you? If you see it and keep being nice to them, you're being a useful idiot. I'll show you how to spot that sign right now. The contempt signal and breaking the mask. People lie with words all day. They say, great to see you, while inside they're wishing you'd disappear. But biology doesn't lie. Contempt is the only asymmetrical emotion of the human face. It is a slight lifting of just one corner of the mouth. A one-sided smile. If you see this for a fraction of a second while you're talking, stop immediately. That person does not respect you. They feel superior to you in that moment. What does the observer do? He doesn't confront. He doesn't say, why did you make that face? That would be giving away your trump card. The observer changes the tone of the conversation. He withdraws information. He becomes even more silent. He makes the person wonder, did he notice? Doubt is the mother of anxiety. And an anxious person leaks information. Now, imagine you are at a table with 5 people. How do you know who the real leader of the group is without waiting for anyone to speak? Watch where people look when someone tells a joke and everyone laughs. It's an instinctive reflex. When a group laughs, people instinctively look at the person they most admire or seek approval from. If everyone laughs and looks at John, John is the alpha, no matter if he is the shortest or the quietest. If you want to dominate the conversation, you need to know who the target is. It's no use trying to convince the group if you don't convince the leader. But there is a verbal manipulation technique that uses no new words. It uses the person's own words against them. I call it the echo technique. It's the favorite tool of FBI negotiators to get kidnappers to reveal their plans. And I'm going to teach you how to use it to make anyone tell you secrets on a first date. The echo technique, the power of repetition. Most people think that to be a good conversationalist, you need to have incredible stories. Wrong. To be a master of conversation, you just need to be a mirror. The echo technique consists of repeating the last 2 or 3 words the person said, turning them into a question. Example, the person says, I had a really difficult day at work. You say, really difficult? What happens in their brain? They feel you are listening. They feel safe to expand. They continue, yeah, my boss is putting a lot of pressure on me with the new project. You say, new project. It sounds simple, even stupid. But try it. It is almost impossible for a human being not to keep talking when they receive an echo. You aren't giving your opinion. You aren't changing the subject to yourself. You are just providing the vacuum for them to fill. In 10 minutes of using the echo, you will know the person's life story, their insecurities, and their desires. And do you know what they'll say about you at the end? Wow, you're such a great conversationalist. Even though you said nothing, you just observed and echoed. This is domination. You are in control of the direction of the conversation without spending energy. You are gathering intelligence while the other person is disarming themselves. But there is a danger. If you do the echo with the wrong tone of voice, you'll sound like an annoying parrot. The tone must be one of genuine curiosity. And now, I'm going to deliver on the promise I made at the beginning. The 3-word phrase that breaks any barrier. But first, I need to warn you about the spotlight effect. If you don't turn this off, you will never have the coldness required to observe anyone. Turning off the spotlight effect. The biggest obstacle to observing others is being too focused on yourself. Is my hair okay? Did I say something stupid? What are they thinking of me? This is the spotlight effect. You think there is a giant searchlight on you and that everyone is analyzing your every move. The truth hurts. Nobody cares about you. People are so caught up in their own spotlight effects that they barely see you. The observer uses this to his advantage. He turns off his own light and points the reflector at the other person. When you stop worrying about your performance, you gain X-ray vision. You start to notice the sweat on the other person's forehead, the hesitation in their voice, the micro-adjustment of their tie. Observation is an act of ego detachment. You must be willing to be nobody in the room to see everything. Now, pay attention. Imagine you suspect someone is lying to you. You've used the 4-second rule, you've used the echo, but the person is still closed off. It's time to use the 3-word phrase. This phrase hits the subconscious in a way that logic cannot block. It removes the pressure of guilt and opens the floodgates of confession. The phrase is, "It seems like," followed by an observation of the person's emotion. It seems like you're upset about this. It seems like you're afraid of this result. It seems like you feel treated unfairly. Why does this work? Because you aren't asserting. You are labeling the emotion. If you are right, the person feels understood and breaks down. If you are wrong, they will correct you, and in correcting you, they will hand over the real emotion. I'm not afraid, I'm just worried about the deadline. Boom. You just found the real problem, the deadline. Use "it seems like" and watch the person's body relax. The defenses fall. The game is over. The psychology of space and the master's touch. Have you ever noticed how great predators in nature move slowly? Fast movement is a sign of nervousness, of prey, of fear. If you want to dominate a conversation, you need to dominate your physical rhythm. Speak slowly. Move slowly. When you speak slowly, you force the other person to enter your time. You signal that your time is valuable and that you are in no hurry to be heard. And here is the final trick of observation: personal space. If you want to know someone's level of submission, lightly invade their personal space. One step closer than what is socially acceptable. If the person steps back, they've accepted your dominance. If they stand firm, they are an equal or a challenge. If they lean forward, they are trying to intimidate you. The observer reads the distance. He knows that the conversation doesn't happen in the words, it happens in the air between the two people. But don't forget, the most powerful tool you have isn't your eye, nor your mouth. It's your instinct. You know that gut feeling you get when someone seems nice, but something doesn't fit? Your subconscious processes thousands of microsignals per second that your conscious mind cannot filter. Never ignore your instinct in favor of the logic of words. If the words say yes, but the body says no, the body is what counts. Always. The silent dominance checklist. So you don't forget and can start applying this right now, here is your dominance protocol. The ratio rule: listen 80%, talk 20%. And of the 20% you speak, 15% should be questions or echoes. The gaze triangle: focus on the eyes, but alternate to the third eye between the eyebrows to project authority. Never focus on the mouth unless the mood is seductive. Foot anchoring: keep your feet firm on the ground. Don't bounce your legs. Leg bouncing is an anxiety leak that your opponent will smell from a mile away. Emotional labeling: use "it seems like" to disarm defenses. The post-answer vacuum: wait 4 seconds before reacting to anything important. Let the person drown in their own silence. If you follow this, you will notice something terrifying. People will start telling you things they don't even tell their own spouses. They will feel magnetically attracted to your presence. Why? Because in a world of people screaming to be noticed, the man who listens and observes is a king. Silence is not the absence of sound. Silence is the presence of power. This video is ending, but your training has just begun. The next person you talk to is your testing ground. Don't try to use everything at once. Choose one technique. Start with the echo. Then move to the 4 seconds. You will fail the first few times. You will feel the urge to speak. You will get nervous. But with every silence you sustain, a piece of your old insecurity will die. And in its place, a man will be born who doesn't need to shout to be heard. A man who dominates the room before he even opens his mouth. The world belongs to the observers. The talkers are just the soundtrack. What are you going to observe in your next conversation? The power of immobility. Do you think silence is just the absence of sound? This is where you're wrong, and it's why you continue to be ignored in meetings, sidelined on dates, and dominated by people who talk less than you but seem to know 10 times more. Silence is not a void. Silence is a psychological pressure tool. When you talk, you are spending energy. When you observe, you are accumulating ammunition. Imagine every conversation is a poker game. Most people play with their cards face up on the table, shouting what they have in their hand. The observer? He keeps his cards face down, studies the sweat on his opponent's forehead, and waits for the moment when the other person, desperate for the silence to end, gives the game away on their own. In the next few paragraphs, I'm taking it to the next level. I'm going to show you how to use your body to silence an entire room, how to detect the fear micro-expression that lasts less than a second, and the definitive technique to make anyone feel emotionally naked in front of you, without you having to ask a single invasive question. If you thought what we saw so far was intense, get ready, because now we enter social predation psychology. Have you noticed how nervous people move? They jingle keys, tap their feet, adjust their glasses, mess with their hair. Their brain is trying to leak anxiety through micro-movements. If you want to dominate, you must do the opposite. Become a statue. Immobility projects unshakable confidence. When you are in a conversation and remain physically calm while the other person is agitated, you signal to their brain that you are the predator and they are the prey. Their limbic system will start firing warning signals. They will start asking themselves, why is he so calm? What does he know that I don't? This creates an instant power asymmetry. But be careful. There is a fine line between being calm and being threatening. The secret lies in the sovereign lean. Never lean forward to hear someone. This shows effort. It shows you are hunting for the other person's approval or words. Instead, lean back slightly. Occupy space. Show that the information needs to come to you, not that you are going to get it. Whoever leans back controls the time. Whoever leans forward is controlled by need. And speaking of time control, did you know there is a way to interrupt someone who won't stop talking without saying a single word? I'll teach you the raised hand trigger shortly. But first, you need to understand what a person's eyes say when they are accessing a memory or inventing a lie. The lie radar, what the gaze hides. Forget what you heard about liars don't look you in the eye. Professional liars look in the eyes too much, precisely to check if you are believing them. To read the truth, You need to observe ocular access. When you ask a difficult question and the person looks up and to the left, from their perspective, they are usually trying to reconstruct a visual image. They are remembering. If they look up and to the right, they are constructing an image. That is, they are creating something that didn't happen. They are making up the scene. The master observer doesn't point a finger and say, "You're lying." That's amateur stuff. The master just smiles slightly, echoes the last word, and dives into the 4-second silence. He lets the liar hang themselves in their own web of unnecessary details. Have you noticed that when someone lies, they start giving details nobody asked for? "I got there at 8, but traffic was bad because of a blue trash truck that broke down on the corner by the bakery." Why was the truck blue? Why the bakery? Because the liar thinks details bring truth. The observer knows that excessive details are the smell of fear. But what if the person is good? What if they are a high-functioning sociopath who doesn't flinch? Then you use the false information trap. But I'll only tell you how to set that trap at the end of this video. Before that, let's talk about how you can read someone's status just by the way they hold a glass or a phone. The anatomy of status. Hands and territory. Hands are the tools of our will. Where someone puts their hands reveals how much they feel they own the environment. Watch in a meeting. The low-status individual keeps their hands hidden under the table or between their legs. They are protecting their vital parts. They are in defense mode. The high-status individual spreads their hands on the table. They touch objects. They mark territory. If you want to increase your authority in 10 seconds, show the palms of your hands. Historically, showing empty hands means, "I carry no weapons." This disarms the other person's defense system and makes them trust you subconsciously. But, if you want to project absolute dominance, use the steeple position. Join just the tips of the fingers of both hands, as if you were holding an invisible ball. It is the classic gesture of Angela Merkel, great CEOs, and master strategists. This gesture says, "I am processing everything, I am calm, and I am in control." Now, imagine you are being interrupted. Someone is trying to talk over your voice. Do not raise your tone. Do not fight for the floor. Just raise your hand slightly, palm facing the person, and keep talking at the same pace, without looking at them. This gesture is the universal equivalent of a stop sign. The person's brain will process the physical command before it processes your speech. They will stop. And when they stop, you finish your sentence, take a dramatic pause, look them in the eye for 2 seconds, and say, "You were saying." Boom. You just domesticated the interruption. The observation of absence. What isn't there? This is the most advanced level of mastery. The common observer sees what people do. The master sees what they fail to do. In a conversation, who wasn't mentioned? In a project, what problem was avoided? In a compliment, what part was omitted? If someone introduces the team and praises everyone's intelligence but forgets to mention honesty, pay attention. What isn't said is what matters most. People use words to create a smokescreen. They talk about what they want you to see. Your job is to look where the smoke isn't. This applies to strategic vulnerability. You know when someone confesses a small mistake to look honest? "Oh, I'm just such a perfectionist, that's my flaw." This is bait. They are handing you a harmless failure, so you won't look for the real one. The observer accepts the bait, thanks them for the honesty, and doubles the vigilance. He knows that whoever shows a small wound is hiding internal bleeding. But how do you get the person to hand you the truth without them realizing it? How do you break their mask? This is where the false assertion technique comes in. The false assertion technique. People have a pathological desire to correct others. If you ask, "How much do you make?" the person will shut down. But if you observe their lifestyle and say, casually, "From what I see, you must be making about 5K a month, right? And the real value is 15K, their ego will scream. They will want to correct you. "Oh no, it's way more than that. The last quarter bonus alone was almost double that." There. They gave you the information they would never give if asked directly. You can use this for everything. It seems like you didn't really like the new director, huh? It seems like this project is late because of the sales department. Throw the wrong bait. Let the person's pride do the investigative work for you. The power cliffhanger. The moment to leave. The biggest mistake of someone who wants to dominate a conversation is not knowing when it ends. The talker stays until the end. He drains the energy of the room. He waits for the other person to send him away. The observer leaves at the peak. When the conversation is at its most interesting point, when you've just dropped a smart observation or generated a laugh, leave. It's been a pleasure, but I have a commitment now. We'll continue later. This creates the Zeigarnik effect in people's brains. We remember interrupted tasks much more than completed ones. By leaving at the peak, you leave a presence vacuum. People will spend the rest of the day thinking about what you were going to say next. You become an addiction. You become the person everyone wants to see again. The Observer's Manifesto. The world is a noisy place. Everyone wants to be heard, but nobody wants to understand. By choosing to talk less and observe more, you aren't being passive. You are being surgical. You are operating on a frequency that most don't even know exists. You will see the lies before they are told. You will feel the betrayal before it is planned. You will attract respect without having to ask for it. Starting tomorrow, your goal is simple. Be the person who knows the most and talks the least in the room. Let the others burn their oxygen trying to prove they are important. You know your value. And your value is measured by what you see, not what you shout. The next time you are in a conversation, remember, the first person to speak usually loses. The first person to explain themselves is usually guilty. And the person who sustains the silence is usually the queen of the board. The video is ending. The screen will go black. What are you going to do with the first seconds of silence that come now? Are you going to look for another video to fill the void? Or are you finally going to sit and observe what your own brain is trying to tell you? Dominance begins in silence. Begin now.